During World War II, the vast blue expanse of the Pacific Ocean wasn't just water, it was war. A floating battlefield where aircraft carriers became the kings of the sea. Massive steel titans like the USS Enterprise and Japan's Akagi launched wave after wave of planes, striking from hundreds of miles away, rewriting naval warfare forever. These weren't just battles, they were full-blown cataclysms, deciding the fate of nations and the course of history. Now, over 80 years later, the Pacific is heating up again. But this time, the players have changed. It's no longer the US versus Imperial Japan. It's the United States versus the People's Republic of China. Two superpowers, two rival visions for the future, and one massive ocean that both are determined to control. China has been churning out warships like never before, at a rate the world hasn't seen since World War II. They've built the world's largest navy by sheer numbers, launched their third aircraft carrier, the Fujian, and fortified the South China Sea with artificial islands turned into missile fortresses. But the United States isn't backing down, not even close. Enter the Ford-class aircraft carrier, the most advanced, most powerful, and most expensive warship ever built. This isn't your grandfather's aircraft carrier. It's a floating city of war, nearly 1,100 feet long, displacing over 100,000 tons, capable of launching more sorties per day than any carrier in history. It's equipped with electromagnetic catapults instead of steam, advanced radar systems, and the infrastructure to launch drones, 5th-gen fighters, and possibly even future hypersonic weapons. It's not just a ship, it's a message. One that says, we're still the top dog in the Pacific. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the lead ship of this new class, recently completed a high-intensity deployment with NATO allies, operating in the Atlantic and Mediterranean. It showcased just how deadly and versatile it could be, launching FA-18 Super Hornets, E-2D Advanced Hawkeyes, and conducting seamless joint operations with allied navies. And now it's being prepped for the Pacific theater. The timing isn't a coincidence. China has ramped up military drills near Taiwan, rehearsing what appears to be full-scale amphibious invasions. Beijing has deployed dozens of warships and aircraft in simulated blockades. They're not hiding their ambitions. And Washington's response is equally visible. Carrier strike groups cruising through the Taiwan Strait, joint military drills with Japan and Australia, and expanded naval presence throughout the Indo-Pacific. This arms race isn't theoretical, it's operational. Each new ship, each patrol, each weapons test adds fuel to an already smoldering fire. The Ford-class carriers bring more than brute force. They're smarter, more efficient, and built for the future of warfare. Take its electromagnetic aircraft launch system, EMALS, for example. Unlike the steam catapults of older carriers, EMALS provides smoother, faster, and more reliable launches. It can handle everything from massive fighter jets to lightweight drones. That flexibility means Ford-class carriers aren't just platforms for today's missions. They're ready for whatever comes next. Its advanced arresting gear and dual-band radar further streamline operations, reducing the time between launches and landings and allowing for a higher sortie rate. That means more jets in the air, more often, a crucial advantage in any conflict scenario. And when you factor in its nuclear power plant, which provides essentially unlimited range and power, you get a warship that can remain deployed indefinitely, far from home ports, projecting American power wherever needed. But let's not forget the bigger picture. The South China Sea is more than just a potential battleground. It's one of the most vital trade corridors in the world. Over $5 trillion in global trade passes through it annually. Whoever controls this maritime highway doesn't just gain a military edge. They influence the global economy. That's why the US Navy's presence is strategic, not just symbolic. And the Ford class is the crown jewel in that strategy. Meanwhile, China is investing heavily in anti-access area denial A2AD capabilities designed to keep US carriers at bay. Their DF-21D and DF-26 missiles, dubbed carrier killers, can theoretically target large warships from thousands of kilometers away. Combine that with satellite tracking, cyber warfare, and electronic jamming, and you have a dangerous chessboard where each piece has the power to change the entire game. The US, of course, is adapting. Carrier strike groups now operate with sophisticated countermeasures, electronic warfare systems, and supporting vessels like destroyers and submarines designed to shield the carriers. Drones and satellites provide real-time battlefield awareness, and AI is being integrated into targeting, logistics, and defensive protocols. This isn't just a Cold War reboot. It's a high-tech arms race where dominance isn't just measured by firepower, but by networks, data, and speed. The Pacific might still be calm on the surface, but beneath it, a storm is brewing. Think tanks in Washington, Beijing, and across Asia have been running war simulations, and many of them are deeply concerning. Some predict that a conflict over Taiwan could escalate into a full-scale regional war within days. Others suggest that cyber attacks and economic blockades could precede any actual shots fired. In those scenarios, Ford-class carriers play a central role. They're not just platforms of war, they're tools of deterrence. Their presence alone can sway decisions, force diplomatic recalculations, and serve as insurance against sudden escalation. But they also raise the stakes. Because if they ever get hit, if one of these billion-dollar giants is ever disabled or sunk, the psychological and strategic shock would be enormous. That's the gamble, and that's the world we now live in. So the question remains, will the Pacific become the site of the next great showdown? Will these floating behemoths, these multi-billion-dollar juggernauts, usher in a new era of peace through strength? Or are they the match hovering dangerously close to a geopolitical powder keg? Because one thing is undeniable. History doesn't just echo, it repeats. And in the Pacific, history has always been written in steel and sacrifice. From Pearl Harbor to Midway, from kamikaze dives to nuclear shadows, this ocean has long been the crucible of global conflict. And now, as the US and China circle each other like modern-day titans, the tension crackles once more across these waters. With the Ford-class carrier now in play, the United States has made its move. This isn't just a ship, it's a $13 billion declaration of intent. A technological marvel with electromagnetic catapults, laser defenses in the works, and the ability to launch aircraft faster, farther, and more frequently than ever before. It's a mobile fortress, a sovereign slice of America that sails where it pleases, backed by the full force of the world's most powerful navy. And it's not just hardware, it's symbolism, presence, power, a message not just to China, but to every nation eyeing the Pacific. The US isn't stepping back, it's stepping in. Because in this high-stakes game of strategy and steel, there's no middle ground. Either you command the waves, or you get swept beneath them. And the next chapter in Pacific power, it might just be written, not in a diplomatic chamber, not on a battlefield, but on the flight deck of a carrier, cutting through contested waters, engines roaring beneath a sky full of fighter jets.